Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bull, and welcome to my video log for second week of October. It's October 11th, 2015, and I'm a few days late with this. My apologies. Just had a number of things going on and just didn't quite get around to it, unfortunately. I suck, and I apologize for that. So, before we get started, I would like to send a special thank you to everybody on my Patreon list, my patrons. You're the reason I'm able to do this, and I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. So this week we're going to talk superheroes. And as you may notice, obviously I do not have my video camera working again. I've been having some issues with that. I really think I need to get a dedicated webcam or something for this. So in the meantime, you guys get to watch me play a video game as I talk again. This week it is Marvel Future Fight from a company called Netmarble. It is an app game, and it's really fairly basic. They have some sort of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing right now for promotion, so that's what you got there. Basically what it is you have these teams of heroes. You have all these different heroes you can recruit. So all kinds of them. Let me see if I can find the big hero list. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, right. I know where it's at. Let's try this. Maybe? No. Alright, I don't really know my way around this game too well. Excuse me. Still fighting a little bit of that cough and congestion. I cannot kick that. Anyways, Marvel Future Fight is it's a collection game to a certain degree. Basically, as you play through the game, you'll collect biometrics for different characters. Once you collect enough, you can recruit that character. For instance, I've collected 20 biometrics for Deathlock here. So now I can recruit Deathlock. And this is the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version of Deathlock. And then you get a trophy. So as you recruit heroes and whatever, you'll sometimes get these little trophy events and stuff from quests and everything, and they'll give you some little bonus goodies. But basically, you recruit heroes. There are different uniforms for them. So, like, here's classic Deathlock, or well, modern Deathlock they call him. But he's the current version in the comics, and I currently have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version. You've got Daisy Johnson from the show, Sky, and then you've got the comics version of Quake. For example, we've got the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version of Mockingbird, and then the current version of Mockingbird from the comics. So that's kind of neat. You can get various different costumes and stuff for your characters. And then basically there's a little you play missions. And the missions cost energy. You only have so much energy per day. I don't play that often, and you get energy as a bonus prize from things, so I've actually built up a ton of energy up here. I have 655 out of 50, because I get 50 energy a day right now. So it's one of those games where you're semi-limited, and then of course they say, hey, you want to buy recharges, you can spend money. I haven't spent any money on the game. It's something I'll do occasionally just to kill a little bit of time. But you'll get these little, there's a storyline to it involving dimensional breaches. So what you're doing is you're fighting characters from other dimensions, and sometimes you're fighting heroes, sometimes you're fighting villains, and the characters you're recruiting are coming from all different dimensions too. So sometimes you're recruiting villains and whatever, and they're heroic versions of the villains from other dimensions, or they're just villains that are working to, keep their dimension or whatever alive. You build a team of 3 heroes, and you can swap between them. You play one hero at a time. Sometimes you get a ally that'll come along. And then basically you do this. You have several powers. It's really pretty much a straightforward beat 'em up. So nothing too fancy. And then you get some rewards, and you can spend your money and other rewards and whatever to level your characters up. I generally enjoy the game. I think it's fun. It's not something I play a lot of because it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Nothing too funky or fancy. So it doesn't really hold my attention for long periods of time. But so, anyways, while we're doing this, like I said, I'm going to talk superheroes this week. I figure this is a good week for it because last week Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started the new season, and this week we got the new season of Arrow and The Flash starting up. And both of those are fantastic shows, or all of those are really good shows. I'm really enjoying all three. Plus we've got AKA Jessica Jones shown, or well, I guess just Jessica Jones now, coming to the big screen. Oh, yeah, and at the end of each little stage, like I said, they're really short. You fight your way through a bunch of mooks, and then you'll fight a boss character. And you have a few things you can do at the end of each boss fight. Like, you can summon if you got friends, you can summon a friend to help you out, like that, and you can also summon one of your teammates to help you out. And it's generally pretty easy. There's also heroic versions of each mission. They give you better rewards once you have to have beaten the mission once to play the heroic. And once you beat it, you get prizes. It's no big deal. And the heroics are a little bit more difficult. So that's basically it. Nothing too fancy. All right, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're on our second week, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I'm really enjoying the new storyline. They're embracing the supers a little bit more, which is really nice. So one thing that's always frustrated me with superhero stuff up until recent years is that TV shows and the movies and everything always they're afraid to be a superhero show. I honestly think that's DC's biggest problem right now with their movies. They're knocking it out of the park with the TV division, but their movie division I'm not happy with it. I was not. The first Christopher Nolan Batman movie was good, but after that, I just got stale on them really fast. I just don't find them to be my cup of tea. They're a little too dark, and like I said, they're afraid to be superhero movies. And God, I don't want to even talk about Man of Steel. Man of Steel was a travesty. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. It's my personal opinion. I know other people liked it, and that's cool. Different strokes, different folks. Everybody's got their opinion, and I'm cool with it. I personally, not a fan of that Superman movie. Not a big fan of the Dark Knight stuff, and I honestly have so little interest in actually seeing the Batman vs Superman movie. I'll go see it at some point because it's a superhero movie, and I want to be able to judge it fairly. I don't want to judge it based on my preconceptions based solely off of trailers and stuff. I don't want to be that guy. I see too many of those assholes online as it is. But instead, I want to, judge it fairly. I want to see the movie for myself before I say, this wasn't for me, I didn't like it, whatever. I'm probably not going to like it, and I realize that I'm going into it with a little bit of bias. I can't help that. Everybody has a little bit of personal bias going into anything. There's not really much you can do about that. So, anyways, so DC's been afraid, but Marvel's been really embracing it, and that's been fantastic. The whole idea of being superheroes. S.H.I.E.L.D. was a little slow to start, and I think that was because they weren't sure how well superheroes would do on television. But as they've been dipping their toe in, they've been getting more positive feedback from stuff, and of course Daredevil helped out a lot as well. So they've been able to start really ramping things up with the introduction of the Inhumans. We've got the Deathlock running around. We've got Sky, aka Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, who now has superpowers and gets to use them on a semi-regular basis. We're introducing these new Inhuman characters with powers. They've brought Asgardians into the show several times now. In fact, just this last episode had a return of Peter McNichol's Asgardian character from season 1, who's just fantastic. If you don't remember Peter McNichol, he's been in a million things. I always remember him as the guy from Ghostbusters 2, who was Vigo's little worshiper. He is Vigo. But yes, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been fun. The last couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to see where they go with this. I'm hoping they really can get to do more with the superpowers and the Inhumans, and they have a new bad guy for the season that looks awesome. Ward is just amazing. I never really liked Ward as a character when he was a hero, when he was a member of the S.H.I.E.L.D. team. However, him being just a complete broken character but running Hydra now, excellent. Great choice from him. Made the character like 16 times more interesting than he ever was. And he's just been a fantastic character and a fantastic foil for the team because he is just such a bastard. I love the fact that everybody on the team just wants him dead. I mean, even like sweet, innocent Simmons wants him dead. And I'm really glad they resolved that plot line fairly quickly. It was a nice cliffhanger to have her sucked up by that obelisk thing at the end of season 3, or season 2, whichever season. Yeah, season 2. At the end of the season, it was a nice cliffhanger. But by the same token, you don't want her off-world or out of the story for too long. So it was really nice that they were able to bring her back, and obviously that storyline is going to continue because she's got some sort of at least PSTD, if not something else going on there. We don't know. We haven't had a chance to explore that any further, but it was really nice. Plus, it was awesome seeing Fitz be a big damn hero. Getting to play Indiana Jones doing the archaeology thing there, first episode. This episode, just diving into that portal. Amazing. But even, honestly, as much as I've been enjoying the Marvel stuff, and I'm a huge Marvel guy. Always been. I've been a Marvel zombie since I was a kid. DC, I never really got into nearly as much. I mean, I like some of the DC characters and stuff, but I'm not a huge DC guy. So obviously, my interest has been in Marvel, but I have to admit, I've been enjoying the hell out of the DC stuff. Arrow and the new Arrow show, the new Flash show, been amazing. Some of the other TV stuff I've not been into. Gotham, I can't stand. Part of it is I just don't find Batman's world to be that interesting, especially without Batman. Partly because I find the idea of, well, Batman's still a little kid. We're going to follow Gordon, which is okay. But here's all of Batman's old villains as before they were villains, or before they were, super villains. I think there's some potential for stories there, but I'm not entirely sure there's potential for an entire series. I think the show would have been much better if they'd just decided to go, okay, it's set in Batman's world with an active Batman, but we're not going to really show Batman, instead just been a Gotham Central show. Go full-on police procedural with the cops just dealing with the fallout of living in a Batman world. I think that would have been a much more interesting show. I just can't get into Gotham. I tried. I watched the first 5 episodes, I think, of season 1, and just didn't dig it, which really sucks because I really like, what's his name? The guy playing Gordon. I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head. But I like that actor a lot. I think he's a great actor. But I just can't get into it. I didn't get into Constantine, but I also was never a big fan of the comic. It never grabbed me. I never read that much of it, so I don't know that much about the character. So those shows I wasn't, but the stuff that they're doing over here, the CW shows, loving them. I mean, Arrow's been just fantastic. I was a little iffy on first season just because, I liked it, but I didn't like the fact that they were kind of avoiding the super stuff a bit, and they were kind of tiptoeing around the idea of being in this superhero world. and it was a little darker and a little more serious, and it was obviously influenced by the Nolan stuff. But starting with season 2, you can see that they said, hey, look, wait a minute. Marvel's just throwing all this crazy shit at the screen, and it's working really well. So maybe we could unclench a little bit and actually start having fun with things. And I think, and season 2 is really where I got hooked on Arrow. Because they really were able to start playing around with it, and the idea of him starting to become a hero. And by season 3, it was just full on. I mean, they started just introducing characters, hero characters, superpowers, the works. It's been just fantastic. And the Flash, oh my god, I love the Flash. Flash just embraced it wholeheartedly. I mean, and that is just represented by little more than the fact that the guy playing Barry Allen, just obviously relishes the role. I mean, he just looks like, as a hero, he looks like he's having fun. I mean, Stephen Amell playing Arrow, out of character, when you see him talking about it, it's obvious he loves the show, he loves the character. He's amazing, he's a great guy. And it's really cool seeing him enjoying the role. But, his character is obviously more angst-ridden, more serious and whatnot. Whereas Barry Allen is, well, he had some angst and stuff for the whole thing with his mom dying when he was a kid and his dad being locked up and all that stuff. It was obvious that he got superpowers and he just went, this is awesome! And just started having fun with it. And then you've got, Caitlin Snow was having fun. You had Cisco. Cisco is amazing. He is the nerd all of us are when we watch these shows. So it's just been, Flash and Arrow have been great, and I love the fact the two of them have been crossing over, and they're a nice shared little world. I loved shared universes, I love shared universes, by the way. Love it. I love the concept of tying two worlds together. And you guys are just watching the screen with these guys just bob around. I'm sorry. I'm talking and I'm not actually messing around a little bit with these guys, so it's not very visually interesting. I do apologize for that. Maybe we'll kind of page through my characters while I talk, so you can kind of see them. So, anyways, no, I really like the Arrow and Flash. I'm interested to see what else they're doing. While I wasn't into Constantine, I like the idea that this season on Arrow, they're introducing magic, and we've been told that the guy who played Constantine in the TV show, since it got canceled, he's actually going to be crossing over into Flash, or into Arrow, which will be tremendous. Like I said, not a big fan of Constantine, but I like the idea of him being part of that world. I'm actually a little disappointed that Supergirl is not going to be part of the universe. That was a bit of a disappointment for me, because I think that could have been a lot of fun. So yeah, those have been just tremendously good fun. I've been loving all of that. I'm really looking forward to Jessica Jones. Interested to see what they do with that. I know it's going to be a little bit... Daredevil was a little darker than I would have particularly liked, but it works for Daredevil, because Daredevil is kind of a darker show, or a darker character sometimes. And Jessica Jones, I've read the original Alias comic that they're basing this on, and I know that's a little bit of a darker story too, because she's a bit of a tragic character. But I know where her character ends up in the comics, and I'm hoping eventually her character will end up somewhere along those lines in the show. And if nothing else, everything I've heard is that the show is film noir top to bottom, which will also be just fantastic to watch, because I like the film noir style. So that should be kind of cool. Really excited for that, and that's just a couple weeks away. So, and the trailers have been just fantastic. I loved. They're very minimal, but the little teaser trailers they keep doing. The one with her waking up, smashing the alarm clock. The one where she's in the bar and she kicks the jukebox and just watch. The coolest thing about that is I love just the casual use of super strength. Just the whatever. Pff. She just bats this jukebox and it sort of rocks like half a foot. It's just fantastic because it shows that it's no big deal, but it's obviously a superpower. It's not something they're showing off. It's just, it is what it is. I love that concept because it's like, you know what, you've seen it. It's not special anymore. So now we're just going to make it a part of the show. So I'm excited to see that. So it'll be a lot of fun. And then finally, I'm going to talk about an anime. It's one I watched a little while back, and it's an anime about superheroes to some degree, and it was called Tiger and Bunny, uh, which is a goofy ass name, I know. Um, it's kind of a neat anime though. If you can track it down, I highly suggest it. But the basically the show follows a character named Tiger. Uh, he wow. Sorry about that. Had to pause for a second. I kind of completely lost my train of thought there as I was talking. Tiger and Bunny follows this guy named Tiger. He is a aging superhero, basically, in a world where superheroes are a big deal, but they're a big media deal. Like they have their own television show. There's basically a television show. It's kind of a reality show slash news show where they follow the heroes around as they solve crimes and stop things and whatever. And they get scores based on who stops the villain and whatever like that. It's kind of this big superhero reality contest mashup thing. But it's done really well, and it's kind of neat because each of the characters has a sponsor of some sort, and some of the characters actually have real life sponsors even. Like one of the girls, she's got a ice powers, and she's sponsored by Pepsi, and she's actually sponsored by Pepsi. So it's kind of neat that they actually used real world brand logos. I didn't recognize all of them because some of them are Japanese companies and stuff, and I think some of them are fictional, so I'm not entirely positive. But anyways, the main character Tiger was a big deal once upon a time, but he's getting a little older, and his powers aren't that fantastic. His powers are also starting to slowly wear off as the show goes on, and so he's kind of dropped down in the ratings. All the other heroes, they're more powerful, they're flashier, and he kind of loses his sponsorship. And so a new guy comes in, a new company basically buys up his contract and decides they're going to sponsor him, but they're partnering him up with this new hero. It's been a while since I've seen the show, so I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head, so I apologize. I don't remember his real name off the top of my head, but the guy, but Tiger keeps calling him Bunny, much to his annoyance, because that's not actually his name. But little cough there, sorry. So they end up having to team up, and they don't get along at all. And so basically, it's a kind of a buddy cop movie with superheroes, where the two main characters don't get along for most of the show. Eventually, they have to learn to work together and stop a big thing, and it's a really fantastic little show. I mean, I highly recommend it to anybody that's a fan of either anime or superheroes. I think it's really well done. It was a lot of fun. I give it a pretty good recommendation. I believe I gave it an 8 out of 10 when I ranked it on my anime list. So it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for me today. This has gone on a little over 20 minutes. I don't want to make this too long. Don't want to bore you all to tears or anything. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it. So if you have suggestions for anything you'd like to hear me talk about, any shows that you've been watching, leave comments below or leave a comment on the Patreon page, and we can talk about them, or maybe I'll talk about them in a future video log if it's something I'm interested in. If you don't agree with me, let me know. I'm sure some of you will. Like I said, I fully admit that personal tastes are personal, and everybody has a right to their own opinions. So I'm never going to tell anybody that they're wrong for liking something. Anybody who loves the new Batman movies, for example, more power to you. It's awesome that they're producing something that you enjoy. Not for me is all. That's all I'm saying about that. Please don't send me too much hate mail. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'm going to sign off with that. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and like the video. Subscribe to my channel. And as I said, this was made possible by my patrons for my Patreon page. I will throw the links and stuff down below. If you would like to see more from me or help me do more of these, I would like to do these more often and stuff. That is made possible with the support from Patreon. So, please check it out. And if it's something you might be interested, feel free to, jump in and support me, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys have a good weekend.